I was going to go 3, 2, 1, Inspiration Nation. That's the end. That's the end. Inspiration Nation. Hello, Lee Kemp here for another week on a podcast with very good friends, both Ryan Boniface and a returning Jose Noya. We're literally going straight in. There's some preamble. So, Jose, how are you, and how was your visit to España?
Oh, very good. I don't know what's going on here. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you. Oh, this is what, guys, this because he's on, this is what I have to part with. There's like 10 minutes of Joe's tech issues that aren't tech issues before we get to go in.
I don't know what's happening, but you're not coming out my speakers, I don't think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Hang on, are you coming out my speakers? Go on, speak.
Ryan, how are you? Why, Jose?
I'm very well,
this,
thank
as
you.
we are actually live and actually recording this podcast.
What I would say, without trying to throw Joe under a bus, is that he sounds quiet, so I don't know if his mic's engaged.
Oh, is that better? No, hang on, is that better? Is that better?
No, you sound like you're coming through a different microphone.
Is that better?
That's better.
Is that better?
Yeah,
I just turned up the levels. Oh, hang on, I've just realised the phone's levels was too high. Sorry, that was my...
Apologies to everyone listening.
Sorry, right.
Let's get
Start
on with
again.
it. Jose,
yes.
No, we're on. We're
right.
in. This is a podcast.
Okay.
What are we talking about this week?
Right. I have a quote from Ursula K. Le Guin, a poet, and the actual quote is, "No darkness lasts forever." And I would just like to throw it straight away to you both and see what you do with that.
Okay, he's not even turning up properly, is he? He's like, quote, bomb, out of here.
No, this. I really honestly want what comes up in your minds with that quote.
I like this. So I always say I like this when you guys do great. It's one of my ticks. I need to get rid of this. I'm a fan of your quotation, Jose. So
you sound like a ChatGPT. I'm a fan of your quotation. Love it. Go on.
What it makes me think of, and I do this sometimes. So when you're in a dark place, it's really hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel and see your way out. And sometimes it's really easy when things are good to almost be waiting to go back to that dark place. And I think you need to flip the narrative. It's the other way round, because these things go in cycles and there's ups and downs, there's good and bad. So why can't it be that when you're in the dark place, you're waiting for that inevitable end to get to the good place, rather than just wishing away the good time, because no doubt something could go wrong and you go back to the dark place again. Because, like you said, it does not last forever. You can push through these things, but it's so easy to get sucked into that moment and ironically be in that moment and not be able to see a way out. But yeah, it doesn't last forever. And I think, I always think that about the cycles. In fact, I'll go into a rant for you here. There's a song at the moment, and I don't know what it's called or who it's by, because I'm not young or trendy enough to know. But I was listening to it, and I'm like, I really like it, because the guy gets really passionate in his singing, and it sounds like he's like begging someone not to leave him, and there's all this. And I'm like, I really like that. I'll have to look up what it is in a minute.
Can you share it on the chat, because I want to hear this?
I will do, and I might put a link in the show notes as well. And I'll try and when I finish talking, I'll look up what it is. Sorry, come Ryan.
Where did you hear it? Just on the radio?
On the radiogram, yes.
Yeah,
I'll find out what it is in a second. I'll say, but I really like listening to it, and I'm like, because I like songs that I like that, where people are really passionate and you can believe what they're saying. But then I started listening to the lyrics, and actually it starts off, because it's got a bit of a funny structure to it, which again I like, and like almost the prelude, he's talking about how he's got this girlfriend and his life's just kicked into place and he feels like he's got everything and it's great, and I'm like, oh, that's good. But then he references thanking God for giving him this girl, but he knows that he can take things away again, and then basically there's no problem, but he's literally begging that this girl doesn't leave his life again, even though there isn't a problem. And I'm like, I don't really like this, because actually the passion's gone for me now, because there is no freaking problem. So what's he getting so passionate about? Please don't leave me. But also, has this guy got nothing to do with whether this person stays with him or not? It's like it's completely out of my... And I don't know, I'm on a complete sidebar of a ramble here, but now I really don't like the song and it irritates me. Even though I like the structure and I like the passion, it's like, there's no problem, and you're sitting here in despair that one day you might not be with this fantastic person, which again is like, you're in the good, why are you in desperation about this bad that might not even happen?
Is the what ifs, isn't it? I suppose.
And then the sidebar is it's out of my control if they leave me. It's down to God, which I just not to do a religious thing on it, but it's like surely maybe there's a little bit of ownership in whether or not this relationship's last down to you. There you go. That's my big rant that I've done. That's completely not got anything to do with it, but I've been waiting for an opportunity to do it.
No, I really like it, and I think there's that catastrophizing piece, isn't there? That we can all sometimes do when things are so good, we just don't want it to end. And I think there could be a piece in that. But I really love that. And I just wanted to reference Clarkie's in the house, but for some reason you're not really coming out very well on my speakers. So thank you, Clarkie, for the live feedback on this episode, because I don't know what's happening. My speakers on my Mac aren't that great. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why it's so low. But thank you so much, Clarkie. You are like.
I remember a podcast episode a few weeks ago where Joe and I had to postpone, and it was definitely Ryan's fault that the audio wasn't working properly.
Yeah, clearly showing those challenges you had, Ryan, are still showing through now, aren't they?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, mate.
Let's not try and distract from the podcast, okay, Ryan? Just saying. Right?
Could you repeat the quote, please?
Yeah, sorry, I took us off down a weird direction there. So Joe.
So everybody on TikTok and on the podcast, look, I have to keep these guys in check. Like, I'm away for a few weeks, and look what happens. Look, anyway, let me repeat the quote. No darkness lasts forever.
Yeah, I kind of I think Lee symbolises it pretty well for me. But we were talking about, funny enough, we were talking about the change curve last week. I don't know if you caught up with last week.
I remember you talking about this. I listened to the whole episode. Yeah, I loved it. It was really cool.
And when we were talking about the change curve, one of the steps is depression, or being solemn about the scenario. And when I looked up the kind of the descriptive for the change curve, and I think I said on the podcast, there's about six different types depending on where you want to go and find it.
You did.
When it said about depression or when you're at the lowest point, it said something along the lines of you have to remember that it's going to get better. And I think Lee made a point, or kind of, he touched on a point where he kind of said, when people are down, they look forward to when they're going to come up again. And when people are up, they don't really think about coming back down. And everyone goes through these peaks and troughs in life, don't they? Everybody has a good week and a bad week, or a good day or a bad day, or a good month or a bad month, whatever. And I think there's a lot of emphasis put on remembering that things will get better if they're bad. And sometimes, and I don't know the reason why people don't want to think about it, but there isn't a lot of emphasis put on when things are good, remember that you are going to get knocked off of your pedestal in some respect. I think the bigger question, or the bigger point, is you just have to remember that no matter where you are, things will deviate either up or down. And you survived every low point that you've ever had in your life. Every time you thought it can't get any worse than this, you've survived. So why would it be different this time?
Yeah, I love that.
And I know, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it won't be different this time. I'm just saying from a resilience point of view, if you've got through 20, 30, 40, 50 years of life, you've definitely had enough ups and downs in that time to test you as a person. And if you've survived and got through every single one, which if you're still here in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, then there's no reason to suggest that you won't be okay this time.
Yeah, I think you're a valid point. I think, that classic, almost they say it's like cheesy quote, which I absolutely love. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? Oh, I love that. So you're right. And I love that you both referenced that. And I love that you referenced the change curve, because it's really cool. I know last week you referenced Dupree or something, wasn't it? There's a really good quote about the change there as well. And yeah, I love this because I was doing videos as well. And the reason I'm sort of focused on this is like, I'm sort of doing a lot of stuff around men's mental health and us as guys and manning up on all that crap that we get fed with over the years. And, and I did a video, I still do it when I go for my walk in the morning. I will be doing it again, is that I come across this tunnel when I do my video, right? And my story, Ryan know my story. If you go back to episode 1 of the podcast, I'm doing a bit of Leeism here and a Ryanism to going back in the episodes, but very first episode. But there's always, I always say in that bit of the video, I showed a tunnel and I just say there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So it's almost a similar thing. And Robin Williams also done a brilliant quote where he said, and I don't know whether I can reference the word, but and it's sad that he did die because he had issues, but I loved his quote. He said it was really inspirational to me. He said, "Suicide is a permanent solution to temporary problems." And I think this all links together. And for me, I think, I'm going down a road at the moment where I think I want to sort of emphasize that message. And I've got Clark here on the chat, actually, which is really quite cool. And I want to do a sidebar a little bit. He's saying people get obsessed with what could happen rather than what is happening. Love that, Clarky. He goes, nothing lasts forever. Happiness or sadness. He's very wise, is Clarky, right? He's very wise.
He is.
One of our number one fans, actually, he's brilliant. So yeah, I agree with everything you say. So I think anyone who's going for mental health, but I think a lot of guys, having looked at the audience that we serve on YouTube and TikTok, it's primarily guys, and it'd be interesting to get the female perspective on it. But definitely as a guy, when you're under certain pressures, you put pressure on yourself. I know I put pressure on myself like in the 80s, and Ryan, you're very kind to reference 20s, 30s, 40s and 50s. It was very kind of you to reference that. I quite like that. Nice broad range of age.
There's no hidden agenda in that at all.
No, I liked it. I just loved that broadness, because actually one of the looking at the demographic of our audience, you were looking at sort of the 20, I think it's the late 20s to 35s. We got the biggest audience or something like that. Lee might be correct me if I'm wrong, but it was around that, and that's the highest percentage of guys that listen to us. We do have female listeners, and I would love your perspective on that, but guys especially, I think there's a lot of pressure, and I think sometimes that pressure gets so much that we can feel we're going through a really dark patch, like I know, and well, what's the point of this? I'm providing, and I went through that whole point, but I just wanted to relay the message that you guys have related to as well, to say that it doesn't last forever. It doesn't. Provided you keep stepping, provided you do the work as well. You want to sort of examine, what you want to do, why you're here, what things do you want to engage with. If you're not happy, what do you want to start doing about it, and taking those smaller steps, but small steps, right? Being kind to yourself as well, and taking small steps and not expecting massive change over like immediately. It might happen, but it's unlikely. It's just a small change. I think in this podcast, we've all changed, haven't we? Over the years, taken over 5.5 years maybe to get to this point. I think it's like over that now, maybe perhaps. But we've changed so much in just 5 years. You think of that as a timeline, that's a really short amount of time. And Ryan, that's so much change for you. Lee, so much has changed for you. Definitely me, and even the last year, it's changed so much over 5 years. It's been absolutely nuts. So, and as we've gone on the podcast, I've gone through the death of my mum, all that sort of stuff. Other things have happened as well. Meg, going through their challenges, family challenges that you've all heard on the podcast. So it doesn't last forever. It is, it's just that process. Like Ryan, I love that cycle you mentioned about you go up and go down, and Lee, you referenced it as well, that it's just that up and down of life, right? And how we navigate that. Yeah. So this is why I love this quote. It's simple, it's straightforward, and it's something you can remember when you're going through those dark times. But I'd also say as well that this podcast is for you to come here, ask questions, engage, right? You got Ryan, you got Lee, you got me. You can message us, do comments, stuff like that. We'll always reply. I'll always reply. So please do that. We want this to be supportive, and we want to share that we don't always have, we've had dark times as well, and we're with you. It may not be exactly the same, because you're going through your own stuff, right? Whoever's listening to this right now, and we won't know what that is, but we want you to know that this is a place where you can come and, share if you want, whatever, but know this is a supportive place, and that, we don't cast any judgment here, and that, we want this place to be supportive. So that's the way I really, really like this quote. Anyway, I'll throw it over to you guys. Any thoughts on any of that?
I love all of that, Jose. Can I just say as well, my love-hate song, and it is love-hate, is
it? Oh, go on.
Beautiful Things by Benson Boone.
Oh, let me write that down. Beautiful Things by who? Benson Boone?
Someone very helpful has sent a link to the YouTube video in a WhatsApp group that you're a part of.
Oh, fantastic. Beautiful Things. Thank
you. Don't play it on the podcast because you'll get copyright.
Yeah. That's what I was...
Don't play it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that time we did on the podcast, actually? Remember we did that we was commenting on the episode...
The Brooklyn Nine-Nine watch along.
Yeah, and it got struck off. In fact, it was funny the other day. I was trying to post a video on TikTok. It came up in the what's it called? On this day, and it goes back to old videos, and you can repost them. So I reposted it. When I reposted it, it then can't do it, but can't put the sound on because it's something to do with the music. Oh, you silly TikTok!
Did it do it in that voice as well when it said it to you?
Do you know what? It's funny.
The patronising voice.
Do you know what? It's really funny you say that because when my wife sort of explaining, maybe someone's annoyed her, she'll go, "What they said was this," like then they put on a voice to do because is that what they really sound like? So that reminds me of what I say to my wife. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's funny when people do that. I go, "Oh, it's really what is that? What they sound like you in your head." I love that.
I've just listened to the song on mute, and
Go on.
yeah, I, in the first 10 seconds, I knew exactly the song you're on about.
Do you love it now, Ryan? Though, like Lee, do you love it?
Well, he doesn't like it, does it? He said it's
No, he loved it, and then he hated it. I don't know where he's sitting right now. He's probably in the middle somewhere.
It's one of those songs that if I'm in the pub, somebody will always put on the jukebox. It's one of those,
Is it?
It's one of those that people will just listen to after. It has a big crescendo, doesn't it? It all builds up to the chorus.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I love that
why.
sort of structure to a song.
It's a pub song. It's what I would call it, generally a pub song.
Yeah. And it's a little bit folky and a little bit country, and there's a lot of out there at the moment. I'm a massive. I'm all for that. I will say I'm all for that.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I tell you what, just to let you know, we've got 1.3k likes from the Clarkie.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Right, let's do Joe. I don't think we can do. I'm all over the place. So those watching on YouTube, once again, name tags are the wrong way round because every time, no matter what I do, you guys join in the wrong place. So I'm going to blame you for this. Sometimes I say secretly, sometimes I just move them during the show and people can see it on the screen, but I've not bothered to this time.
It didn't happen last. Well, it's only 2 of you last week, so I watched the whole thing. So yeah, okay, go on.
Your call to action, I suppose, about people. We are here for you. We are supportive. We want to be supportive. We want to make it comfortable to wear those things. I love that. I don't think we can better that in terms of a message for giving out and what we do, not just for inspiration, for support. So I loved that. So I think it's time to wrap up some takeaways, if I'm honest, because I love that message. I think we should get that out there, and I don't see how we can better that right now.
Yeah, so I've been doing a bit of content around that, and I think I want to focus more on that now for the moment, just for the moment. I think
absolutely.
I don't know. Could be forever thing. Could be a forever thing. I'm just conscious that now how the world is right now. I think people need support more than ever. I think definitely with all technology that's going on and stuff like that, I think it's really important that there's a space people can come to. So I want us to be that space as well as inspire, right? So I think it's go on.
So I think mine is that it's okay to acknowledge it. It's all right to acknowledge when you're in that dark place, but know that it can get better and know that there's people you can talk to.
Yeah, love that.
Ryan Boniface.
Sorry, am I still muted? I'm not still muted, am I? No. Time heals all wounds. You have to give everything time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether you give it a day, a week, or a month, you have to give it some time.
And
I think that's I
was going to say, and Jose Rodriguez Noya, what is your
Rodriguez? God, that's a new name for me. Lovely. Yeah, I love that, Ryan. That's really nice because I think sometimes you're in that space, you just want it to get going, don't you? You just want it to get gone, but it doesn't. It takes time. You have to sort of sit through it. For me, it's just the classic one, which is okay not to be okay. So,
yes, love that. Love that.
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah, that was short, wasn't it?
For those, Jose references content. So if you just stick Jose Noya-Inspiration to your Google machine on TikTok, follow, subscribe, you'll get all that great content from him every day. And we will go live on TikTok. I say each and every week that Jose is part of the podcast, we'll be going live on TikTok. You'll get notified if you follow him there. You can get involved just like Clarkie's done today, just like loads of people do each and every week. YouTube is the other place as well. Follow, subscribe. You'll get notified when we're going live. Years worth of content on there as well. So just get involved, see what's going on. We appreciate all the support. And head over to inspirationnation.org.uk. All that other good stuff, like, subscribe, tell friends and family, everything that helps us grow. Just tell people about what we're doing. We massively appreciate it and appreciate everyone that is listening and supporting the show. All that's left for me to do is count us down and say 3, 2, 1. Inspiration Nation.
Inspiration Nation.
Catch you guys later.
Catch you guys later.
And Lee, you did that last week. It was very good. Well done. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Well done.